Welcome to the Fighting Fit Show. We did it. We're here. We're live. It's great to have you on board. A couple of wee stats just about Conor, guys. For those who don't know him, he joined us here in January 2022. In his first 12 weeks, he lost 20 pounds. And then, or sorry, in the first 12 weeks, he lost a stone and he's lost upwards of 19 pounds, just shy of the 20-pound mark. And then he initially joined when we're doing our level method carry on. He jumped on board as a yellow and he worked his way up to purple, which is a bit of a phenomenal feat, to be honest, for anybody who was keeping eyes on the level method or was working with us at the time. You understand how bloody insane of a fitness level that was. Conor, welcome to the show. Hope you've been enjoying your fighting fit experience. How are you getting on today?
Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for having me. Yeah, great. Had an absolute hell of a time in fighting fit since I joined. Since like from day one, just really started falling in love. Like I done other gyms and gone and done the old, get the workout card and go in and try and do it yourself. But like since I joined with you guys, it's just turned from trying to get fit and getting strong to like I have to get in or else I feel like I'm going to lose my mind.
Cool. Yeah, that's good. And it's a really cool place to get to. Like, I mean, I was talking to somebody there the other day, and that's exactly what they were saying. They were talking to somebody about they were saying to their friend who comes here, just I don't know how you ever got to that place where you just feel like you need to go. I'd love to be there, and it is something that maybe you take for granted once you are in the game. But getting to the point that working out is a just a staple in your life is a great place to be, and obviously that's what habits are all about. So yeah, it's great to see that you're finally there yourself. What was your kind of previous experience with even exercise as a young lad? Like, were you into sports growing up? What was the extent of your training?
Sports, I wasn't really big into sports. Like I was active in the terms of I was a big swimmer. Like I done all my swimming lessons as a child and was a very, very good swimmer. When I went to college, obviously drinking and eating out and everything kind of took its toll. So I like for me, what I went and done was I went back to swimming and I go in and swim like 100, 200 lengths depending. And that was kind of my fitness. But obviously as I got older or whatever, and I moved on, um, I didn't have, or not that I didn't have, but like it was hard to find a good swimming pool that I could go and do, that amount of work. Because like if I was swimming 100 lengths, 200 lengths, like I could be swimming like 40, 50 minutes. Like most pools you go into, like it's hard to get a lane where you can just sort of swim happily on your own. Um, Now I did gyms as well at the same time. As I said, like I got the card, the workout card, and had it all done out, and it would last like 4, 8 weeks, maybe top 3 months, really, really pushing it. And I get to a place where I was like, I felt good, and then you'd start just creeping slowly back into the habits. So I think the mindset back then was wrong. Like I was trying to get to the goal of, feeling a bit better. And as soon as I hit that, it was just like I threw it in the bin. Like it didn't become a part of life. Um, but this, what you guys had in your gym and when I joined it, it was totally different. Like I felt like I'd goals to work towards and that was it. Got hooked.
Yeah, fantastic. And a couple of things there. First, really, really interesting. You were saying that you were swimming at like a pretty high level. Were you ever competing in swimming, or did you ever?
No,
Uh,
never. I
no.
was asked to do it, but I never really had a love for it. Like I was good at it, but not to the extent whereas I wanted to go compete. And I don't think I would have been an overly fast. So I don't think we were talking an Olympic standard here, but like I was comfortable in the water. Put it that way. I was quite comfortable to swim.
Interesting, yeah. And did you ever go on to do lifeguarding or anything? I know it's a kind of common side job
No,
for good swimmers or the likes of that.
yeah, no. Like again, it was offered, and I had the opportunities to go, but I don't know. I just never really took it up. I don't know if it was life getting in the way or I just wasn't bothered. But yeah, never
Yeah, and
went
then
far.
moving on to kind of other gyms, you did the PT plans, did the or just the gym plan. What was it specifically about Fighting Fit that kind of kept you coming back? Was it the accountability? Was it just the community? Was it just the workouts themselves? What was it particularly that kind of kept you interested?
I think it was the goal setting. the community was great as well because, because you're going to those specific times. So first off, like when you have your gym card or whatever, you go join, a standard gym, like everything is down to you. So like you set your alarm at night and they say you want to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. That alarm goes off at 7 o'clock in the morning. What's the first thing you do? Snooze,
Mm.
snooze, snooze. And then next, it's half seven. It's like, oh, I'm not going to go now. Whereas in your gym where it was the classes are a set time, it's just like the alarm went off, you knew like, right, you have 5 minutes to get out of this bed or you're not making this class and you're not going. So immediately there was, you just knew you had to get up to go. And that really did help me. But then when I got there, it was all the goals that you had laid out. Now, when I joined, I had reasons for joining, but having all those goals in place sort of helped me have something to work towards. And then when I achieved one, I was like, oh, I want to try and, lift that or lift that weight or do that skill. So like that really, really did help me in sort of progress. And that's where I got a love for it because you had so many elements that you were looking at. It wasn't just about coming in and going the treadmill for 15 minutes or something like that. There was so much that you were encapsulating in your overall fitness.
Yeah, when you initially started, we were working off the level method as I mentioned, and that was such a cool experience. I really do. Every time I do the podcast and I talk to people who did kind of start their fitness journey with us doing the level method, it inspires me. I really want to get to work at some stage. Obviously, we're just finding our feet with the new place and getting some kind of grading system of our own because having that next step and it all been color coded and it all been very, very clear and obvious is really motivating. And as I said, they can be yeah, I'm assuming that that's a lot of what you're referring to when you're talking about the goal setting and the like initially.
Yeah, yeah, and I think with the level method, it helped because it wasn't just your own goals. Like everyone was working off the same board. So like if you come in and like you walk in and you see, oh, there's Benny. I wonder if I'll be able to, keep up with him today, or because you know what level they're at, and then you're just like, you're the competitive edge wasn't there at the start, but as I kept going and got a bit stronger, it was just like oh, what are they lifting? It's like, oh, I'm gonna have to try that and see. Like, if they can do that, surely I can do it. So that sort of kept it sort of all enveloped and it kept it rolling on, and then yeah, it just all came together then.
Yeah, really, really great way to kind of build confidence and set realistic competitive goals within, let's say, a non-competitive environment is by having categories, which is really, really cool because it means then that, everybody's kind of competing with people of a similar nature to them in terms of training. And competition is just part of human nature, whether people want to admit it or not. As you said, it's like most people start off and they're not really feeling too competitive because they're not really that fit or they're not really that strong. But it's not too long before you start setting some goals and hitting them and reaching your milestones and maybe noticing that now you're on par with somebody else that the competitive streak kind of starts to come out. Like a victory is a fantastic way to light the fuse in your competitive instinct, let's say.
Yeah, yeah. Like there was so much, and I think one of the ones was that I really enjoyed. It was a simple one. It was skipping. Like
Mm.
skipping, like so easy to a child to do, but we come in and we were doing skipping. And like I was panting and couldn't breathe. And I was hitting the rope was whipping me in the back and the arms, and I was like, this is so difficult to get. But you kept going and you got better, and then slowly it progressed from doing like 20 skips to 50 to 100, and then double unders. Um, so yeah, there was, and then again, you have that competitive edge. You can see, oh, they only have to get 50 skips. Like, come on, you can do better. You can do that. So yeah, I really love that. And then not only that, like if you failed, it's okay to fail. Like everyone said, fair play to you for trying, or you'll get it next time. Like that was that's a great community that Fighting Fit has is that everyone does have your back, and nobody kind of looks down on you if you're in the lower end. And like we all had to start in the lower end. As you said, I started in the yellow band. And I walked in and I was like, I couldn't even do a push up. I couldn't do a push up. I could barely do a push up off the bar. And like that was difficult for me. But like at never at any stage did anyone have I felt like anyone was kind of going, oh Jesus, look, you can't even do a push up or anything like that. Like none of that in the gym. And that's it's very welcoming for anyone coming in to have that support.
Yeah, and one of the big things is though one of the fantastic things about any kind of gym program is that like for a fit young buck like me when I was kind of boxing and I was training, one of the interesting things when I started lifting weights was like you're like, oh, give me the weights. Oh, sure, I can do that. I can do this. And when it's not very objective, when it's all kind of subjective, oh, I feel a little bit faster, maybe you're not even measuring your times, you can get this kind of false sense of invincibility. Like you just feel like, oh, and especially when it's fighting, it's like, oh, I'll beat him, and then fair enough, they might beat you, and you might, oh, sure, it's points or it's skill or what, it's whatever. You might think, oh, I'll just get a little bit thicker, or I'll just work a little bit harder, or whatever. It's like one of the cool things about weights is that everybody meets their limit, and that's a really important experience, and it can be really, really humbling and bring you on because you realize actually you know what it is, there is only so much weight I can lift, and if I can lift X weight and I can do it for so many reps, there's only a matter of time before I'm going to hit failure, and everybody knows what that failure point is for them, and everybody knows what it's like to want the next step and to fail a few levels prior to it. And so yeah, like most people who are even semi-experienced in a weightlifting community are going to understand, hey listen, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, humbling with weights is definitely the word I'd use. All right.
Yeah. And another cool thing that I really liked about the level method as a concept for new clients was that it just indoctrinates people into the progressive overload concept, which is really what it's trying to get at. And yes, it's color coded and it's fancy and it looks great, but really at its core, what it is, it's progressive overload. It's going, you're going to start at X, we're going to add a small bit, and then we're going to add a small bit, or you're going to do X, and then it's a couple more reps, and then it's a couple more reps, and then once you have that down, then we're gonna maybe change it and add some variety into it, change the leverage position, or maybe add a barbell now instead of doing push-ups into bench press or something like that to keep you adding more weight, adding more pressure, adding more stress. And once you have that down and once you understand what it's like to go from A to B, well, sure, it's the same process from B to C and C to D. And so, again, that's progressive overload in a nutshell. And so, obviously, once you kind of get that down, you can understand it's like, okay, well, if I can get better at bench, it doesn't matter what the exercise is, I can get better at that too. And once you understand that, well, then the gym becomes fun because it's not a matter of am I good enough? It's just what do I need to do and how long is it going to take?
Yeah, yeah, agree.
And so it's very, very interesting kind of eh, reason that you joined Fighting Fit. Let's say you were struggling with a recent diagnosis from the doctor and a little bit of an issue with your elbow. Tell us a little bit more about that. I'm sure the guys would be interested to know. We've had an incredible journey in regards to that, and it's been really, really fascinating to watch and even get to see some of the images that you sent me.
Yeah, so one of the main reasons I joined the gym was whenever COVID hit, everyone went and started working from home. And I do a desk job 40 hours a week. But I started working from home and I had a terrible setup. I had this big steel table, with the community center tables, with the big steel edges around it. And it was, anyway, after a few weeks, I thought I had tennis elbow and it was really, really sore. So I was doing all the exercises and, rested it up and making sure I was doing, all the right things and, giving it the time. And then, the time passed and the pain had gone, but I couldn't fully extend the arm. And there was something always kind of at me. It was just like, this just doesn't feel right because it didn't feel as if it was muscular. Um, like it never felt like it was a strain in the muscle to push it all out. So anyway, I ended up going to the doctor and they sent me for X-rays. And they found that my elbow right at the joint was hollowing, and they couldn't understand. Well, first of all, they didn't know if it was hollowing or if it was something else. So anyway, we went and got tests and biopsies and everything done, and it became undiagnosed. Still is undiagnosed. Still don't know why it happened or what happened. But it left my arm to like this. So this is now full extension for me, my elbow. And
So,
as I
guys,
was using it.
for guys who are just listening, sorry, you refer to that as hypomobile. So again, just a slight restriction. It's not extending to 180 degrees, a few degrees shy, and obviously that's going to impact you in most pushing exercises because you can't get that decent lockout.
Yeah, yeah. And it wasn't, not only did I not have the full, range of the arm, it felt very weak. It felt so weak up to the point like if I was down in my honkers and if I felt as if I was going to lose balance and I go to stick the arm out, I'd have an immediate fear that it was going to snap. So I'd literally pull the arm in and fall on the ground. Uh, couldn't put any kind of weight on it or anything. So that's why I went and joined because, it did have its toll on me kind of mentally. Like I know everyone has, their challenges in life, but when you get presented with your own, I mean, it is your own challenge and like all you begin thinking about is all the things that you're going to be unable to do or can't do in the future. And then that just sort of playing and repeat in my mind and was just like, because we just had our first little boy and I was just like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do like, I don't know, like things that I never done before and probably will never do, but it was just like, oh, I'm not going to be able to go mountain climb with him or all these mad kind of notions that never would have done, but because of this arm, it was just like I felt like it was taken away. I didn't have the option of saying no. Um, so I was like, right, what can I do? And the doctors were just like, you just need to protect it, and like, there's nothing that we can do. So I was like, right, I'm gonna have to take this in my own hands. The only way I knew how to do that was literally get stronger. So that's when I done my research and found you guys and joined. And for me, all I wanted to do was to build muscle around that arm so that it began to feel more comfortable um, and have more control of it when I'm doing like simple things, if it's pretty carrying a bag or whatever it may be. So that's how it started for me.
Yeah, geez, and I remember your first session. I remember you presenting the limitation to me and saying, okay, well, listen, it's not a complete lockout, and then we kind of explore it. What happens if you do lock it out? Like, could you force it? And obviously not force, not super
Yeah.
forcefully. Like, can we work past it? And it's like, no, if I work past it, it's pain. It's like, cool, right? Well, then that's our end range now. So we're just going to adapt. If it's hanging off the bar, if you can manage it, we'll hang off the bar, and that arm's just going to stay a little bit crooked. If we're doing press work, we're going to press to that range. If we're doing push-ups, we're just going to have to work with this
Yeah.
imbalance and just get it as strong as it possibly could. And recently you came back, and obviously that's January 2022. So, we're talking 2.5 years later now, and you presented some really, really cool findings to me early this year.
Yeah. So yeah, after the 2.5 years of training, I went back for just a basic checkup on the do a scan just to see A, if it's stayed in the same state, or B, if it's got worse. So they actually seen that the bone had shown improvement, i.e., so sorry, the bone Holland went out, never explained. If the way they explain it was it's like it's like your bone has turned into an error bar on the inside. He says there's just all these pockets and voids. But I went back and the X-ray showed that it showed improvement. So instead of it being like a dark image in the X-ray, it was, looked much like the rest of the bone in terms of it was whiter. So they could see positive improvement. So they asked like, "What were you doing?" It's like just been lifting weights and getting strong and going to the gym and doing anything that I can do. And they were just like, "Well, like whatever you're doing, just keep doing that."
Yeah,
That
absolutely
was
insane. Your
yeah,
your 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 pictures. If anybody's interested in having a look at the images, if you go onto the Fight and Fit Instagram page, Conor McDonnell's post, don't forget to like, comment, tell him how much of a bloody sensation he is, and you can see his before and after picture of just him in the same shirt, with the weight loss benefit, and then you can see the actual the X-ray image, and it shows the grayed out, what would say more transparent image of the
yeah,
bone, and then the one beside that, a lot more opaque and clear white, as Conor said. And obviously, for anybody who is aging now and starting to, approach 50 plus, obviously the risk of bone deterioration just naturally is going to increase. So that's just a natural process of aging. And to decrease the risk of osteoporosis, everybody, doctors, physios are recommending weight training to help improve bone density. One of the best ways that I always kind of think about this is that when astronauts go up to space and there's no gravitational force being exerted on them, they have to constantly lift weights in order to maintain muscle mass and maintain bone density because under compression, I believe it's called Wolff's Law, under compression, that's when we get stronger. And that reaction is what's responsible for your bone density improving. Obviously, if you had to come into the gym and you had been a coward and you weren't lifting heavy weights, we wouldn't have got that response. It's because you were taking the bull by the horns, applying progressive overload, and pushing the boundaries in a safe and strategical manner. You managed to get an amazing positive benefit. And just because you had the scan prior to joining, it just makes it so bloody cool and interesting to see.
Yeah, like it really did. Like it just proves, yeah, the compression was it Wolf's theory. Like it's the two pictures beside each other. It's like there's no getting around it. You can see clear improvement, and that started off really slow. Like that was simple. That was like push-ups off the bar of the way the rack is in the background, like doing push-ups there, and then slowly lowering the bar and doing it off the bar, and then down to the floor off the knees, and then off the knees onto the toes, and then off the toe on the toes up to a bench, and then like it was just now there's a stage where like I'm doing the clapping push-ups. Like that's how far it's come. It's like from not being able to put any weight to being able to do that. It's like even today I still like can't get over how that all changed. And like that was just coming in and being consistent and just I think just showing up. Like people have even come to me, it was just like, well, what are you doing? Like, what's your trick or what's I was like more than half the battle is just showing up on the day. I was like, you show up, you're gonna go in and do the work. Like that is the hardest part, just showing up. And if you can show up day in, day out, like that's all you have to do. I guarantee you, you're going to get better.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why the membership's set up the way it is in terms of 12-week blocks and you get your weekly passes and the passes expire because it means that missing a session costs you. So it's like if you are paying whatever rate, 39, 49, 59, 69, whatever you're paying a week, and if you have paid for your passes and you've booked in the morning, and if you don't show up, you're gonna lose that pass. That helps pull you out of bed. Like accountability and commitment are a big part of the reason that people can leverage themselves out of the bed. And that's one of the things that we find to be super important is making sure that you've got a leverage or an accountability system in place to make sure that it's not just down to, oh, if I feel motivated, I will. If I don't feel motivated, I won't. Because until you get into the habit and the routine where you really love it, you got to have something that kind of anchors you in, I find.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Just yeah, having those classes and the set times is just really it gives you purpose to get up. It's just like you have to get to that class, or else it's just not going to happen. There's no dilly-dallying, none of that. Like I know, like right, if I don't leave the house at this time, I'm gonna be like 3 minutes late. So it's like get moving, get out, get up.
Yeah. No more snoozing.
No, no. And now it's
Um,
got to a point where the alarm goes off. I don't even think about it. It's literally the body's moving before the head even thinks.
that's class. Yeah. So another interesting part of your journey has been your weight loss aspect of things. I mean, 20 pounds. I know there's so many people that kind of lose a stone and they keep it off and it just becomes normal. But I mean, there's so many people out there with 20 pounds to lose that just can't. And so, what was your approach to getting the weight off? Again, on the Fighting Fit Instagram page, check out Conor's post, have a wee look. Like an incredible weight loss transformation. I'm sure you're absolutely buzzing with it. Nearly 20 pounds of weight gone, and no doubt more pounds of muscle on. So the fat loss could even be more than is shown on the scales. So what was your strategy? What was your approach? How did you manage to achieve that?
I have to say the My Fitness Pal, it's hard. it's hard to not get the results or by using it. I mean, it is very intuitive. Like it's so easy to track once you get into the rhythm of it, and that's probably the hardest part is just starting and getting into the rhythm of it. But knowing kind of, where you are with your calories and your protein intake really kind of helps sort of again, it's setting those goals and those boundaries. It's just like, right, I know if I have this, then I can't have that later on. So maybe I cut this back and I'll be able to have a little bit more later on. Um, the getting out for the 10,000 steps a day, like it is a big one. Like even I've noticed the days where I don't or the weeks where I don't hit the 10,000 steps, like I wasn't getting the same decrease in weight, and even in that was even with going to the gym. And like before I kind of got into fighting fit, I just sort of made the assumption like you just go to the gym, you're naturally going to lose the weight. Like it's just like it's just going to work. That's just the way it happens, but it doesn't happen just like that. And it is a bit of everything. It isn't just showing up at the gym. Like you have to get steps up. If you're eating too much crap, you'll have to, curtail that back a bit. Um, and just making a few smarter choices. Like like cooking oil, using the spray, um, like reducing portion size. And I'll be honest, on the days where I have it tracked very well and I've had my calories intake and I have hit my protein, I'm not craving any food. I'm not craving any sweets. Like I am perfect. Like somebody would offer me like a big, massive triple decker cheeseburger, I easily just say, no, no, you're all right. I'm fine. It's amazing when you fuel yourself properly, how the hunger and all that just goes away.
Yeah, well, so the thing about it is like one of the reasons that we get hungry, well, it can be a couple of different reasons. One of them can be because it's habitual. It's like sometimes you can just be hungry because it's that time of day that you normally eat, and if you keep in that kind of routine, normally you get hungry around the same times. And another part of it as well is like because you generally at that moment in time need the calories. Like you're hungry, your body's empty, and it's used to taking in a certain amount of calories at a certain time of day. Once you start filling your meals with protein and a reasonable amount of calories, and you do it quite regularly, well, you're not in any kind of your appetite isn't that large. You don't really need the food. You know right well that you don't need it, and so then you're just left with the habitual attitude is like, are you just going to eat it because that's kind of what you always do, or are you going to eat it just because it tastes nice? And then obviously that's where I find a little bit of moral superiority just in relation to yourself. Like sometimes you just feel better about yourself when you're making good decisions, and sometimes you can feel like the opposite. Like sometimes you just feel like, oh no, I don't like. I just don't want to eat the right thing. I just want to do the wrong thing and just
Yeah.
and sometimes we can definitely fall into that habit, and that can be really, really powerful. And that's why your relationship with food is one that needs to be constantly worked on, and an awful lot of people will need coaching with, because you're just kind of handed whatever eating behaviors you got growing up. Some people were handed amazing eating behaviors by their parents because they had great eating behaviors, or some people just have neutral eating behaviors. There's not really anything amazing about it, but there's not really anything negative about it. And some people have had an absolute whirlwind with kind of crash diets and bad foods and good foods, and the one diet food that's going to change your life, and if you just eat this. And so again, it's kind of a little bit of a broken mentality around weight loss and kind of what is a good healthy diet. And again, asking you like, what was your approach? Well, it was a little bit of this and there was a little bit of that, and well, I suppose this helped too, and it was a little bit of that. So it was a lot of little things that kind of came together to make sure that you're successful. But in regards to kind of what you're saying, like high protein keeps you full, good food, and if good foods,
Yeah.
good whole foods, fiber and water generally are going to keep you an awful lot fuller. And so if you're full of good food and you're eating in a consistent routine, you're having breakfast, lunch, dinner, and you've already had a snack, and someone comes along and offers you a triple cheeseburger, it's like, well, I'm pretty damn full, to be honest. And you've had a protein shake, no doubt.
Yeah. 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 3 scoops in the protein shake has become like a staple after every session, and that ties me over for a fair few hours. And then it'd be the Greek yogurt. like it's fantastic. I have to say it is really, really good. And there's a lot you can do with it. People can be a bit off with Greek yogurt, but like if you put the right things in it, it can actually be really, really nice. Um, it's like you can even turn it into quite a treat. Like you can crunch in like it, but like something small like that, where you might have went and had maybe the whole bloody packet of crisps. I find like I said, right, I'll take one biscuit out of there and I'll crumble it in my dessert, and I'll have my fruit and my cherries and maybe a bit of cinnamon on top of it or whatever, and mix it all up. Really, really nice. But like it's just ways of getting around those hunger pangs. And but yeah, that Greek yogurt, I remember when you first told me about it, it
Fadgy.
was it was a big game changer. Sorry?
Was it Fadgy? Isn't that what I said?
Yeah, yeah. And I said it to Neve. I was like, Neve, can you pick up this Faji stuff? And she's like, what are you talking about? And it's like, I don't know. It's like Greek yogurt. And she goes, do you mean faye? And it's like, I don't know. Is it that what it's called? And she goes, Connor, it's on the side of the tub how to pronounce faye. I was like, look, I'm just telling you what Brandon said. So of course she's a member of Fighting Fit as well. So you got a fair dose of slagging after that.
In my defense, if they're gonna go as far to put it on the tub, I'm gonna say I'm not the first.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, like you're definitely not the first, and you won't be the last either.
Yeah, exactly. Even if I was eating it for months and an embarrassing amount of time before I decided to read it, after being told about it. To be fair, and then another one, Connor, just another slightly controversial food: cottage cheese. What is your experience with cottage cheese?
Yeah, I like cottage cheese. Yeah, I know everybody has is to have a real disliking to
And
it.
sorry, Connor, just to qualify, why the bloody hell am I randomly bringing up cottage cheese? The 0% fat Greek yogurt is nearly pure protein. Like, it's such an amazing food. Like, I think it's got 10 grams of protein per 100 calories, which is pretty badass. I think
Yeah,
cottage cheese is also in the running there. The issue is just the cottage cheese puts an awful lot of people off. But if you can stomach cottage cheese, or you can figure out there's some really, really cool ways to kind of make up cool recipes with cottage cheese, look them up online. TikTok is a hell of a thing. Instagram Reels. So anyway, yeah. So what's your experimentation with cottage cheese? Is it kind of something you do on the regular, or
yeah, yeah. I have. There's a tub downstairs in the fridge ready to go. I'm not overly mad. Well, I don't really do much with the cottage cheese other than, it's in the tub. I'll scoop a bit out. Um, I find I got like a tandoori powder mix or a curry powder, whatever flavor that, you might be into. You can add a little bit of that into it. It's actually great as a filler for salads, or even if you're making a sandwich with whatever you wanted in it. It's actually a great filler if you wanted to, like, I don't know, get rid of coleslaw or mayonnaise or something like that. And it really puts a lot of flavor into it. But yeah, I know you can cook a lot with it, but I haven't I haven't
for,
experimented too much.
for example, something that I'm going to try, I've been meaning to try, but I really haven't just made a chicken tikka in a fair while. But like, for example, chicken tikka, when you make it quite red, and that orange flavor is kind of what is the pretty signature color for the chicken tikka masala. And obviously what makes it orange is, or a little more creamy orange, is the fat, the yogurt, the cream. And so if you blend Greek cottage cheese and pour it in, I've seen people use blended cottage cheese as a cream substitute all over the internet, and for very little calories and quite high protein. It's quite interesting. So yeah, there's so many strategies and foods and tips and tricks that you need to be kind of trying to incorporate into your diet. Because just thinking like, oh, I'm just going to cut out breads is like, okay, I mean, like, that's a decent, okay strategy, but like, for how
Yeah.
long? And is that really all that's going wrong? And it really is a multi-layered, multifaceted problem, and it's something that needs constantly worked on and accounted for, I think.
Yeah, yeah, no, it definitely does.
So any recent challenges that you're kind of having with your nutrition? Is do you have a big weight loss goal at the minute? Are you kind of working more on a bulk? Where are you at with that end of things?
Yeah, I was doing really good. I was really cutting down, try and lose another bit of weight. I think I was trying to get down to 81. Then I went on holidays. I was good on holidays though. I did go to the gym in the hotel a couple of times. But then I came back and we done Helen back, wasn't it? We done? Yeah. And we all went out after it, and I had an arm wrestle with Stephen, and he's actually damaged my arm for the good arm. He's damaged.
Hilarious.
So
Go on, Steve.
I've been off for the last 2 weeks. I'm planning to come back in. I think Thursday. I think I'm booking in, but yeah, I think I have a bit more to go again. I think I've creeped up a little bit, but I know once I get back in and back in the back in the swing of things, I'll get back at it and get down to 81 again.
Kelly, and then obviously on the exercise side of things, like, what's your big kind of fitness or strength goal that you're really fixated on at the minute?
I really want to hit that 100 kg bench press. I think I
Yeah,
got
that's a great one.
97 and a half for it. Yeah, it's come a long way. So that's one that I really want. I'm trying to think of another one. We haven't done it in a while, but it's getting over. I think it's getting over 80 kg, maybe 90 kg in the. Geez, I can't even think of it. Not the in the clean. Yeah,
Oh, the high power cleans.
yeah. Or
Yeah,
power clean from the ground.
yeah, you could be waiting a wee while. Just power clean is kind of something that we've suddenly knocked on the head.
Yeah, I've noticed that. All right.
Yeah, just for the reason being, it's a fantastic exercise, but when you're teaching it at scale, people generally just don't get to the place that they're getting very good for the amount of time that we can give them. Like I said, like 12 minutes to learn a high power clean and to do that once a week and then to maybe miss every other week. It's just not the most effective use of some people's time. So we've kind of opted for kettlebell swings and deadlifts kind of separately to get that hip extension, that nice explosive power, and then obviously that overall strength in the low back and quads and stuff. But fantastic exercise, just maybe something that I'll definitely do myself,
Yeah,
but just maybe not
it
right for the
definitely
program.
requires more skill than anything else. I've definitely noticed that. Like it's the technique is everything with it. Doesn't matter what your strength is. Like if you have your technique, really down with it, like I find the strength is nearly secondary.
Well, it depends on what
Well,
you're missing. I'd say
to an
like
extent.
you're
I'm not
coming
saying
at
anyone.
but you're coming at it from an approach where maybe like you're pretty strong, which is fantastic. And then you get
Yeah,
some people who are like, I understand the lift, but the weights are so heavy, you know?
yeah. I
Uh,
think that's probably from watching too many Instagram videos of actual proper weightlifters
yeah.
doing it for these.
80% of my feed is slow motion Chinese weightlifters.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, mine's the same.
Yeah, no, absolutely incredible. And definitely an amazing goal, but big focus on the 100 on the bench. That's absolutely incredible. Trying to get a little bit leaner. We're going to get into some fun stuff now. What is your favorite flavor of protein? Are you supplementing at the minute? You're a three scoop kind of guy. What are you taking at the minute?
Yeah, double chocolate
Double
every day.
chocolate. Double
Yeah.
double scoop of chocolate every day.
No, the double rich chocolate flavor, three
Sorry.
scoops.
Yes, gold standard.
Yeah. I've
Love
tried
it.
a few others, but just no. For me, it's just like no, I can drink that day in, day out. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm just saying I absolutely love it, to be fair. What are supplements you take? Are you on anything else? Are you taking multivitamins, creatine? What are you caffeine? What's your protocol?
Yeah, I try to keep the creatine intake daily as best I can. Like I always have a tub there, like all the time. There's never a time where I'll actually run out of it. So that has been another constant. Um, I got fish oils recently, but I haven't got into the swing of taking them. But I think the two main ones that I'd be taking would be mainly the protein and then the creatine. Pre-workout, I have pre-workouts, and yeah, I generally would have one, especially in the morning, just to get a kick in my step. Yeah, I'll take either a mixed one or a pre-mixed.
To be fair, if it makes you feel any better, caffeine, creatine, and whey are pretty much the only supplements that I know to be actually beneficial in terms of performance. So you hit the trifecta there, which is great. and shy of taking gear or anabolics. I mean, that's as good as it gets. So, until you ever decide to start breaking the law, you're as well rounded and well set up in terms of supplements. That's fantastic to hear. What about exercise? What is your favorite exercise?
Like cardio, weightlifting.
Let's go. But what's your favorite cardio exercise?
Oh, Jesus, none of them. uh, I running. I don't like running, but
Let's
like
put
at the
let's put let's
same
put it like this. Let's put it
at the
like this.
same
You can
time,
only do one exercise for cardiovascular benefits for the rest of your life. What would you pick?
swimming.
Swimming. That's a good
Yeah,
one. I like that one.
yeah,
Cool. What
definitely
about what
swimming.
about weight training then?
Ooh, yeah. There's a lot. The bench is up there, but there's something else. I kind of like kettlebell swings. Kettlebell swings are good too.
Kettlebell swings. All right, cool. So kettlebell swings or bench press.
Yeah.
Like it, cool. What else we got? Favorite cheat meal. So the diet's over. You've just hit your goal weight. Maybe you're really well behaved and you've maintained it for a week, but the treats are coming. What's your go-to meal?
Oh, there's so many choices, Brandon. So many.
Well, listen, the phone's in your hand. You've got 50 quid in your pocket. What are you buying?
It'll probably be. Who am I kidding? It's gonna be the kebab on a Thursday night with the lads.
Okay.
After we play pool every Thursday night in the league in Drogheda, and yeah, it's like gospel that we have to go for this kebab. Yeah. So yeah, doner kebab.
Doner kebab. Love it. What about your dieting? So, you've been dieting for the last 3 weeks. You're in the midst of the calorie deficit. You want to stay on track, but you want something that's high in protein, full of flavor. What's your go-to?
Oh, it's definitely the Greek yogurt. The Greek yogurt with I get a little bit of the powerful cordials, the way that you can get them in the little containers that you can have on the go. Like a tiny squirt of that in it. Some frozen cherries, maybe some frozen mango. Um, even you can get the high protein peanut butter, and you get like just about a tablespoon of that in and mix it in. Sounds a bit odd, but like it is amazing. Like it's a very good, yeah,
I can imagine funkier dieting concoctions. To be fair, that seems pretty decent,
yeah.
pretty
Oh, it's very
reasonable.
good, very tasty.
Steady, all right. And then last one, and then I'll let you go. As a big thank you for jumping on the podcast. And a question I'd like to ask all the guys: what's your favorite workout song? And I'll add it to the playlist for you.
Oh shit. I think AC/DC. Is it AC/DC? Come on, and it's just yeah, I can't think of it. But you always have it on you anyway.
Okay, okay. So AC/DC song. You're not sure exactly which one it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to embarrass myself here. It's Highway to Hell. Is that AC/DC?
You could be right. Could be right.
You're right, right. Okay, all right. Well, we'll put an AC/DC album on the next day. Pick your favorite one. We'll throw it on the playlist.
Okay, that's great.
No, actually, I tell a lie. Last thing, parting words for anybody who is in a position that you are when you started, or even just if you could pick up the phone and give yourself a call back before you started. What advice would you have for anybody kind of just getting started or thinking about starting?
I think I said it earlier. It was just like for anyone, just show up. That's the bottom line. Just make it your goal to show up. Don't think about anything else after that. Like if you show up, you get up. Even I tell you what, for bottom line, just be able to get out of bed and walk out your bedroom door. If you do that much, you're going. Like you've achieved. Like you're definitely doing it. So I think that's the hardest part. Getting out of your bed. You get out of your bed and you get outside your bedroom door. That's it. You're gone.
Deadly. Thank you so much, Conor. I really appreciate you taking the time. I really appreciate you jumping on the podcast. And it's fantastic to see you make so much progress in the last 2.5 years. Who knows where you're going to be in our 2.5 years' time? No doubt you'll be benching 100 kg plus and the rest. We'll definitely get an opportunity to do some power cleans on the floor. We'll get you to hit that goal as well. But as I said, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast with me. If you enjoyed this podcast, guys, make sure that you check us out on YouTube. You can like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You get a notification when we release a new podcast. You get the podcast on Spotify. If you're a Spotify listener, all podcasts, and there's a backlog. If you like this podcast, there's many other guests that we've had in the past, but myself and Stephen doing interviews and me and the lads having the chat. So if you like that kind of stuff, guys, make sure that you check that out, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.